How much of your own life have you lost to shame over a body that never asked to be judged? Think about that for a second. How many photos you didn't take? How many places you didn't go? How many clothes you put back on the rack without even trying on? How many times you said, "I'll go when I lose weight," as if your life were a place you don't yet have permission to enter. Something is happening to women that almost nobody talks about openly. And it's not about weight. It's not about aesthetics. It's about a prison with no bars, no lock, and yet it holds tighter than anything physical. And the most disturbing part of all? He has always been with you. She walked into the store smiling. She left crying. Nobody yelled at her. Nobody threw anything on the floor. There was no scene, no scandal. It was worse than that. It was that kind of silent humiliation that gets under your skin and stays there for years without asking permission. The saleswoman looked her up and down, gave a crooked smile, and said in that voice that pretended to be kind, "I don't think we'll have your size here." Then she went back to her phone as if she didn't exist. She left the store with her face burning. She held back tears until she reached the car. And inside that car, with a full parking lot of people walking by, she broke down. Not a pretty movie-style cry. The ugly kind, the kind that hurts in your chest, the kind that closes your throat. And in the middle of that cry, she thought something she never forgot. Why do I take up so much space in the world and still feel so small? That woman exists. She has a name, a history, scars nobody sees. And maybe that woman is you. Because if you've ever felt ashamed of your own body in public, if you've ever avoided entering a place out of fear of what people would think, if you've ever chosen the corner seat so nobody would see you, if you've ever pretended you didn't want something simply because your body made you believe you didn't deserve it, then you know exactly what that woman felt in that parking lot. And I need to talk about this today. Not lightly, not with pretty phrases for you to save to your favorites and forget about later. I need to talk about it for real because this subject has weight and it deserves respect. The humiliation a body causes a woman doesn't begin in the street. Begins at home. Begins in childhood, when a family member makes a comment at the dinner table and everyone laughs. Begins in adolescence, when clothes don't fit the same way they fit your friend and you start believing the problem is you. Begins in the comparisons we learn to make before we even understand what they do to our minds. Psychology calls this the internalization of the external gaze. It's when we stop seeing ourselves through our own eyes and start seeing ourselves through the eyes of those who judged us. It's when someone else's criticism becomes our own internal voice. And that voice is cruel. It doesn't rest. It speaks while you're getting dressed, while you're eating, while you're trying to sleep, while you're simply trying to exist. That voice says things no enemy would dare say to your face. Compares. Diminishes. Replays every comment, every look, every laugh. And the worst part is that you believe it, because it sounds like you're the one saying it. But it's not you. Never was. It's the accumulated pain of years of being told you needed to be different from who you are. And do you know what happens to a woman who carries that weight for too long? She starts to shrink. Not physically. She shrinks in her dreams, her choices, her relationships. She starts asking for less, taking up less space, apologizing for existing. She wears dark clothes so as not to draw attention. She turns down invitations so she doesn't have to get ready. She postpones her entire life waiting for the day her body will change, and then, finally, she'll be able to start really living. But that day never comes. Or if it does, she has already lost so much she doesn't know where to begin. I need you to understand something science has already proven and most people still haven't accepted. The relationship you have with your body directly affects your mental health, your relationships, your ability to make decisions, your productivity, your creativity, and even the way you allow yourself to be loved. A woman at war with her own body is spending an absurd amount of mental energy on something that should be a source of strength, not conflict. It's like trying to cross the ocean with a hole in your boat. You can row with everything you have and still slowly sink. Now I need to tell you what happened to that woman in the parking lot. She didn't lose weight. She didn't have surgery. She didn't wake up one day looking different on the outside. What happened was much deeper, much harder, and much more real than any physical transformation. She decided to stop postponing. It wasn't an easy decision. It wasn't an inspirational moment with a soundtrack. It was a decision made in anger, in pain, with a broken heart, after realizing she was wasting her own life waiting for permission that nobody was ever going to give her. She started dressing for herself. Not to hide. To express. She stopped choosing clothes by asking, "Won't this draw too much attention?" and started asking, "Is this who I am?" And that's when something strange happened. When she stopped hiding, people started looking at her differently. Not because her body changed. 'Cause her posture changed. 'Cause her energy changed. 'Cause there is something magnetically powerful about a woman who takes up her own space without apology. Psychology has a name for this too: embodied presence. It's when you return to inhabiting your own body with awareness and intention, instead of treating it as a burden you carry or a problem you need to solve before you can start living. She started showing up. In photos, at events, in conversations. And people began asking what she was doing differently. Which diet? Which procedure? Which secret? And she answered with a simple phrase that left everyone speechless. "I stopped treating myself like a rough draft." 'Cause that's what we do. We treat our own lives like rough drafts. The final version is for later, when we're thinner, when we're put together, when we're ready. And the present slips away, wasted in preparation for a future we keep postponing ourselves. You are not a rough draft. You are the final version. Right now. Exactly as you are today. This doesn't mean you can't want to change. You can. You have every right to pursue health, to take care of your body, to make choices that are good for you. But there is an enormous difference between caring for your body out of love and punishing your body out of hatred. And most women I know were only ever taught the second. Caring out of love looks like respect. It looks like patience. It looks like choices that sustain, not punish. Punishing out of hatred looks like extreme restriction, guilt after eating, exercise as payment for what you ate, looking in the mirror and only seeing what needs to be fixed. A body you hate won't take you far. A body you respect will carry you anywhere. And when that woman understood this, when she truly understood it in the depths of her heart and not just in her head, she became a reference. Not because she became perfect, 'cause she became whole. Today she walks into stores and picks what she wants. Today she appears in photos without needing to approve every angle. Today she sits in the front, speaks up, takes up more space. Not out of arrogance. By right. And that saleswoman who looked her up and down? She doesn't even remember her face anymore. Because when you become the protagonist of your own story, the cruel supporting characters lose their power. I want to leave you with a question, one I want you to carry inside you, not answer right now, but let echo. How many versions of you have been waiting for your body to change before finally showing up? The answer to that question might be the beginning of everything. You don't need a different body to have a life worth living. You need a different relationship with the body you already have. And that change doesn't begin at the gym, doesn't begin with a diet, doesn't begin in the mirror. Begins exactly here. In this moment. With you deciding it's time to stop waiting for permission to exist.